Let me click the button. Recording.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm also recording. So that's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, let's wait a couple of minutes, then we'll start. And this will be recorded. Amy and Joe, thanks for coming in. We just wait for a couple of minutes and then we'll go. Yes.
We had a bit of a
Amy
technical
and
issue
Joe,
with the link.
maybe you could just type in the chat or unmute yourself. So what do you want to get out of this webinar? So it'll be a 45-minute sharing on in case you forgot what's the title. It's from pocket money to purpose. So I'll be talking about how we as parents can help our children be financially literate. Yeah. Which unfortunately is something not really taught in schools. Yeah.
And also
Okay,
mention,
so
also if you can mention who you are. Are you a parent? And uh, with the link, I think there was some technical issues. I just wanted to know, did you receive the new email? How did you join? Because we had like the wrong link given out.
yeah, feel free to mute yourself or type inside the chat box lah. Joe and Amy. I think I just posted the Zoom link on my Telegram chat as well.
Okay.
The whole schooling Telegram. So probably that's how they got.
Yeah.
Okay, in respect of your time, I shall just jump right into the content. Meanwhile, Amy and Joe, if you can hear me, feel free to unmute yourself or type inside the chat box what you like to learn out of this webinar. Because this webinar is really tailored to solve your gaps, address your gaps. Yeah, it's not for me, it's not for Ashish, but it's for you, the parents. Okay, so without further ado, I would. Joe struggling figure out how to use Zoom. As long as you can hear me and you can hear Ashish, that is fine for now. Nothing too complicated. I believe on the iPhone and Android, on the iPhone it should. No worries. If you can't unmute, it's okay. You can also click on the chat button, which is on Android is a bottom row. I believe it's the same on iPhone. And then you just type inside the chat. If you have questions or if you have a responses, just feel free to type inside the chat box. Yeah. If you can't unmute yourself, it's alright. You can also type inside the chat. Okay. So in respect of your time, I'll jump straight into content. We do have quite a bit of content, and for sure we will not cover everything. But if you have questions after that, feel free to drop myself or Ashish an email. Okay, so just a quick introduction. I'm the happy coach Yuan Tai, and I set up the homeschooling community about 8-9 years ago. And the aim is that to gather community of homeschoolers and to build a community lah. So I myself, I'm a professional career and life coach. I'm also a wealth manager. So I help people to manage their retirement portfolio. And that's where I'm coming from in terms of financial literacy. It's something that I see that we as parents, we need to equip our children and next generation with this essential skill set. Unfortunately, if we leave it to the schools, most likely they will not get the job done. So our children will not be financially literate and savvy about money. Yeah. So this particular webinar is to address the gap. So we as parents, how can we help our children to be financially literate? Yeah. So the title of this webinar, from pocket money to purpose. Okay, nurturing money habits for life. So this is something that is for life. It's a lifelong journey. We need to journey with our children. We need to journey ourselves. So we need to learn how to manage our own finances. And then the second step will be to impart this knowledge and know-how to our next generation, to our kids. Okay. So thank you for taking time off your precious schedule to join us. I really appreciate that. And thank you for your time. I hope that you find the next 40 minutes or so valuable and you learn something from it that you can apply to your life to help your kids. Okay, so let me jump straight to the content. We do have a
So,
lot of content. May
so,
not be cover everything. Yep.
so I will
Yes.
share the screen.
It's okay. Don't need to share screen. I'll
Oh,
just talk. It's
okay.
okay. It's okay. Yeah, yeah. It's
You,
okay.
you,
Yeah. So
but you
feel
you
free
already
to.
you already made it, right? So might as well share it.
Oh
What
yeah,
do you
sure,
think?
sure. Go
Yeah.
ahead. If you want to.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can
I'll share
start. You
the.
can start talking
Yeah.
while I bring it up. Yeah.
I'm actually at slide. I'm at slide. I think slide 3. Yeah. So let's skip to slide 3 lah. You open the link. Okay. Let's start with you. So what's your first memory of money? Yeah. This is a question. Open-ended question. Feel free to type inside the chat box. Let me see. Okay. What's okay, I don't see anything, but no worries. Okay, what's our first memory of money? So what's my first memory of money? My first memory of money is as a young child receiving pocket money from my parents. That's it. So my parents, they are not financially literate, not very savvy with money. And the only thing, they taught me two things about money. Lah. So number one, money is not enough. Yes, money always not enough. They taught me that money has to be exchanged with time and energy lah. So when we are working for in a company, we are working as an employee, we are literally exchanging money using our time and energy. That's number one. Okay, number two, they taught me to be thrifty, to live below my means. Yeah, so they set an example lah. So my parents, they are quite thrifty, they live below their means. Yeah, and they save up quite a bit. Yeah, which set me and my brother, the two of us, up for life, like gives us a very solid foundation. Yeah, so basically, my parents are retired. They are financially free. So my brother and I didn't have to worry about them in terms of money needs. Yeah, so that's my first memory of money. I'm not sure what's yours, but this memory of money is very important because this memory of money shapes our perspective of money, and this affects how we educate our children about money. Yeah, some people have very unhealthy money beliefs. I might cover some of it later. What are some unhealthy money beliefs? And this actually affects the way we educate our children. And of course, our children will be affected and they'll respond accordingly because we have unhealthy habits. And that's why this webinar is to create awareness what are healthy and unhealthy habits of money and perspective of money. Yeah. Okay, let's skip to the next slide. So I'll use a 3-pillar framework, which I hope that you find it very useful for yourself and for you to educate your kids as well. So the 3 pillars, what are the 3 pillars? Money, mindset, values and habits, and the entrepreneurial spirit. So these are 3 main areas. So once again, money mindset. What is a healthy money belief? Number 2, values and habit. What are healthy values and habits of money? And number 3, entrepreneurial spirit. Encourage our children to take risks. In a nutshell, what's the entrepreneurial spirit? Okay, slide 5. So money is a tool and not a goal. This is we have to believe. Yeah, and this is foundational too. Some people subscribe to the belief that money is the root of all evil, which I don't. Because if you believe that is money, then literally your whole life will be spent running away from money, assuming that you run away from evil things. Yeah, and this is not a healthy money habit. So some of us fall into a poverty mentality because we believe that money is evil. But money is not evil. So money is an amplifier, and money is a tool. Money is used to amplify the good that you want to do And conversely, it can also be used to amplify the negative things that you want to do. So it's just simply a tool. This is number one, the key concept. And expounding on this, money is a tool and not a goal. It's also the concept that money is a tool to reach your destination. It's not a destination and end in itself. Yeah, and this is very important distinction to make. Yeah, let me say it again. Money is not an end to itself. It's just a means to an end. Let it sit in now. This is very deep. And if we don't get this right, our children will never get this right. Yeah, because some people literally their whole life is seeing money as a end goal, as a destination. So you hear things like I want to be a millionaire by 30, or I want to be a high net worth 100 millionaire by age so that, and they see the money as a destination. This is very unhealthy because if money is your destination, then you will never ever reach your destination. Reason being, money is never enough. There's always a 1 million. Once you reach the 1 million, then there's a 10 million. Once you reach the 10 million, then there's 100 million, so on and so forth. It's never enough. And that's why you see some people, they are seemingly rich and successful, but they are not happy. Yeah, and it's my goal and my mission as a life coach. So these are I'm a happy man club. And the happy man club is my tribe, is my community. So literally my bread and butter is educating people and showing them that money is not an angle. Yeah, and we ourselves as parents, we need to believe that money is not an angle. Because if we fall into danger and trap of seeing money as an angle, then we get into trouble of constantly being in the rat race. And we can earn million, 10 million, 100 of million, and we'll never ever be happy. Yeah. So same thing if our children see us, hey, how come my parents seem to be successful, have successful careers or successful businesses, but they never seem to be happy. They never seem to spend enough time with me. Yeah, so that is the reason why, because our money belief is unhealthy. So money is a tool and not a goal. Okay, let me skip to the next slide. Moving on, slide 6. The $2 lesson. So the $2 lesson is something my very personal note. So I'm born in the 1980s. I'm not sure how many parents are also born in 1980s. So 80s kid lah. So 80s kid born in Singapore, middle income family. $2 is literally the pocket money, the amount of pocket money that I received when I was in primary school, age 7 to around age 12. So this is based in the Singapore education system. If those of us for maybe based in Australia, they are used to different system. But primary school in Singapore means age 7 to 12. So at that age, my pocket money is $2. $2. And what is the $2 lesson? So the $2 lesson is as such. Some of you give pocket money to your children, maybe daily or weekly, but I'm not sure how many of you actually educate your child how to do a little budgeting. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So if you don't, I'll recommend that it's a good time that you start to educate your children how to do a little budgeting. So $2 during my time, it's enough to spend. It's enough to spend for you, for me, during my recess time to buy my tea break or my breakfast or my lunch. Yeah, so it's enough for me to spend. Of course, nowadays, due to inflation, probably you need $4 or $5 for the kids, for them to buy a meal or two in school. But here's the thing: some of you may want to consider you educate your child how to do their budgeting. So very simple budgeting. If your child is in primary school, 7 years old to 12 years old, they already have learned math, basic math, plus, minus, multiply, and divide. So they'll be able to handle simple budgeting. And the reason why we want to do that is because you want to give them responsibility so that they'll take ownership of their money. Even though they didn't earn this money, this pocket money is given to them, but at least they feel responsible now. So you can educate them and tell them, hey, $2, maybe some days you don't have to spend everything. So you have some left over, you can start to save it, put it inside your piggy bank, and save for a rainy day. Yeah, so this is a very simple thing. And then for those kids who are a bit older, maybe upper primary from 10 years old onwards, you may even want to give them a weekly allowance instead of daily allowance or even monthly allowance. Then you tell them, okay, now I'm giving you a weekly allowance. It's supposed to last you for the next week. Or you give them a monthly allowance and it's supposed to last them for the next month. And then you have to educate them how do you plan or budget such that it can last you throughout and have enough. Yeah, so that you don't have to come back to daddy and mommy to ask for more money. Yeah. So this is something, a little exercise that we can do in our daily routine, daily lives, so that we can educate our children and importantly get them to take responsibility. So this is what my mom did when I was young to educate me and say, hey, $2 maybe you don't have to spend everything, you might want to save maybe 50 cents, then you save up. Then some days you might need to buy an additional meal, maybe because you have a remedial class or you have a extracurricular activities, then you need to buy an extra meal and you have enough money, or you want to donate, for example, or you want to reward yourself, and then you have some left over. So this is the whole idea of the $2 lesson. Yeah, I hope this is helpful for you. Okay, moving on to next slide. Sorry, I'm going a bit fast. Please let me know the time inside the chat box. I can slow down. Yeah, I'm not meant to cover every slide. I have 32 slides, so I won't cover everything, but I'll just highlight important things. Yeah. So the next point I want to highlight is that money habits are caught, not taught. Caught. What do I mean by caught? So our children actually see what we do rather than listen to. I mean, you guys are parents, so you know. Half the time, or maybe 90% of things that you're telling your children gets ignored or goes in one year and goes out the other year. Yeah, but your children, your kids, our kids, they actually observe what we do rather than what we say. And same thing, they see what we do in terms of our money habits, how we behave with money. Do we donate to charity? Do we, when we see needy people on the streets, how do we react? How do we deploy our finances? Do we enjoy the fine things in life? Not that I have anything against that, but we are constantly dining out at all the fine dining, all the restaurants, and all that. Then our children will think likewise. Oh, it's normal to go and dine, fine dining, and all that. So they'll have certain expectation of life, and probably that might not be too helpful if one day in their life they have to experience some hardship because they lose their job or because they fall into some debt or something. Yeah. So they might suffer. Yeah. So money habits are caught, not taught. They children will see how we behave, how we do rather than listen to what we say. So this is a very important point. Please write down, please take note. Okay, let me move on to the next slide. Okay, two jars that change everything. So this again another very simple exercise that we can do with our kids. You can sit them down. I recommend this one probably you might want to consider for older kids, 9 years old, 10 years old and above, the upper primary school kids. So this is a needs and wants jar. They have two jar. How to allocate resources. This one is resource management for our kids. And I recommend do it for older kids. Yeah, because they are a bit more mature. So younger kids, you can try, will be a bit tougher. So you might need to constantly reinforce some of the concepts. So there's these needs and wants jar. So basically, you're putting into two buckets. And then how to identify and differentiate between needs and wants. So I'll not dwell too much because you guys know what's needs and wants, the difference. But the key thing is then to put into practice for your kids. Yeah. So I have tell them the kids, hey, there's this two buckets or two jars or two piggy banks, whatever you want to use. There's a needs and there's a wants, and then we need to differentiate, distinguish, so that we go for the higher priority needs rather than spending on the wants. And so this is a habit, a perspective that you can cultivate, a very healthy one in your children. So you can kind of educate them to always hang on to their wants, to hold back on discretionary spending, then you already have succeeded in this aspect. Because this, I mean, we ourselves as adults, we also know, even as adults, we struggle. We buy a lot of things on impulse, and of course, the advertisers, the marketers know how to tickle our whet our appetite so that we always succumb to our wants. Yeah. So even as adults, we struggle with this, and what more for kids? They are not even yeah hardly any life experience. Very low maturity of thought and all that. Yeah. So this is something that I will recommend that you practice along with your kids. So it's journeying together with them. Yeah, because we adults, we are not perfect. And I'm first to raise up a hand that I also succumb to my wants. Yeah, so how can we expect our kids who are decades behind us in terms of life experience, in terms of thought maturity, to actually be really, really good at holding back on their wants? There's no way. Yeah. Okay, let me just move on to next slide, number 9. Slide 9. Okay, so this is defining needs in the kids language. So of course we have to bring ourselves down to a kids level, and what I'll recommend is that you use a lot of examples. Like for example, um is a handphone a need or a want? So for some parents it's a need lah, because they do need to keep track of where their kids are, and they need to have a means of communication. But that said, an expensive handphone, for example, the iPhone 17, cost $2,000 without contract. Is it a need or a want? I will really, really think it's a want. I mean, you need a handphone to communicate with your kid. You can just get a very basic model that probably cost a couple of $100 or $300. Yeah, compared to an iPhone 17, which costs $2,000, you can buy a laptop with that same amount of money. Yeah, so I feel that um, the latest iPhone for your kids will probably be a one. And of course, we have to educate our kids with lots of analogies, because that will be helpful for them to understand. Yeah, if we tell them what's needs and wants, the theory part, they'll probably not catch anything at all. So we probably have to show them example, what is a need, what is a want. Okay, let me
Uh,
skip to the next slide.
can we
Yes.
can you do a quick recap on all the points you touched so far? Just a quick recap. Point one, point two. Like
Oh, you're testing
the
me.
the
Ashish, why
takeaway.
not you recap for me since you have been listening intently, right? So you do a quick recap. Yeah, Ashish, let me outsource to you. So what have I talked about? Ashish, yes.
Uh, I asked because sometimes I struggle to pay attention, but yeah, if you don't mind, next, I guess the next one I could do.
Ashish, why you never pay attention? Yeah. Oh, yeah, Ashish will have to stand outside the class because he's not paying. Yeah, I'll just do a quick recap. So I've been talking about the money habits, talking about money perspective, the difference between needs and wants, and a little bit about budgeting as well. How do we give our children pocket money and educate them on how to do a simple budgeting, which means let's say you give them $2 a day or maybe $20 a week, and then educate your children. Don't spend everything, but set aside some for a rainy day lah, when they may need. Okay, that's very briefly. Okay, Ashish, so next time you have to do a recap for me. Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, why you leave everything to me? Yeah, yo. Yeah. Okay, okay. Let me go to slide 10. Defining wants in kids language. So slide 9 was defining needs and wants, and I'll cover these two together. So similarly, when you define the wants, we have to use a lot of analogy, examples, what is a need and what's a want. Okay, let me skip to slide 11. Pause and prioritize rule. Pause. So this is an exercise to help your kids especially those kids that always pester you to buy things for them. Yeah, so when your kids, your children's constantly pestering you to buy things for them, this is a huge red flag that they have issues with curbing their buying intent or impulse buy intent. Yeah, so they have this impulsive buying behavior, and likely they have this impulse buying behavior. As I mentioned earlier, the our kids always watch what we do. Yeah, so likely if your kids have an impulse buying, I'm not saying 100%, but very likely it's because we ourselves have this impulse buying behavior. That's why our kids, they observe and then they learn and they have this habit as well. So how can we? So this one we can also practice on our own. How can we curb the impulse buy unhealthy behavior? Pause. Wait for 24 hours. Ask ourselves, do we really need it? So for 24 so if you want to buy something, you make a pause. Don't buy. Hold on to the purchase decision for 24 hours and keep asking yourself, do we really need it? Do we really need it? Do we really need it? You ask yourself, what will I still want this tomorrow? Do I have enough in my wants jar? So I was talking about a needs jar and a wants jar to split your resources, resource management, and choose buy, save longer or let it go. Yeah. So this is something we can practice on our own, and then we can educate our kids so that we can curb the impulse buying behavior, which is very unhealthy. Okay, slide 12, needs versus wants. Okay, so this one is to reinforce our budgeting for our kids. How do we inculcate? So for those, as I mentioned earlier, for those kids who are older, 9, 10 years old and above, I'll recommend that you give them a weekly or monthly allowance instead of daily allowance. Why? Because this gives them, number one, it gives them responsibility. So now they are responsible to plan out their budget so that they can last for the next 1 week. If you give them a weekly allowance, or they have to budget for next 1 month because you give them a monthly allowance. Yeah, and this is really good exercise which I highly recommend that you work through together with your kids. But of course, I'll recommend this for older kids, like 9, 10 years old and above. Okay, activity. Need or want. So this one is a little quick activity which I'll skip because I think most of us are familiar. By the way, the slides I'll send it via email. It's actually done on I use Claude AI to do it. Yeah, so I'll send the link on email. So Ashish, can you take note to send the link, the same link that I sent to you? So after our event, send them two things: feedback and then the link for the slides. Yeah.
Yeah, the Claude link, it's not a
Yes.
visual, it's not a visual presentation, right? It's not.
It's the content. I think that the content is the one that is important. No worries. The content is the one that is important. So just
Okay.
send them that as well. Yeah, I think
Okay.
it'll be helpful for them for all of us to recap. Yeah. Okay, so this is a very small note. There's a teen for save who save for charity. So there's this teenager. She Of course, teenagers don't have much pocket money, so you wonder how they manage to do it, right? So this teenager was very successful and successful in terms of raising funds for her charity. Yeah, so she number one, she raised funds, so she initiated community projects. Lah. So of course, this is something that I mean, to me it's like outlier. Lah. So this teen is probably an outlier, someone who's performing and mature way beyond our age. But what we can encourage our kids to do is that when they have holidays, just give them mini project work. Lah. Just ask them, hey, what do you like to do? Maybe you like to walk the dog or walk the cat. Or we don't really walk cats, lah. We walk the dog. Okay? For example. Or they can play some musical instrument. Then you might want to encourage them, okay, let's play for charity or let's play for public performance, and then you do some fundraising, and then you can donate it or you can spend it on your own, whichever. Yeah, so these mini projects actually are very hands-on mini activities that educate our kids on money and as well as helping them to cultivate very healthy money habits. And it forces them in a way to get out of their comfort zone, number one, and number two, to think of other people's needs beyond their own needs. Yeah. Because generally, I think Singapore, I speak for Singaporeans, I think for Australia as well, we do live in a pretty well-to-do society, country, developed nations. So we don't see a lot of poverty. There are still poverty in Singapore and in Australia, but not a lot. So we do them. Our kids that generally do have they are quite privileged and quite fortunate. Yeah. So this is something that if you can do with your kids, do volunteer work, do mini projects that educate them on the importance of money and allow them to practice some of their money handling skills. Yeah, that'll be I feel it will be a very good bonding time and also a very fruitful way to spend your or rather the kids' holidays. Because right now, in Singapore we are having exams, it's an exam period, but the holiday season is just around the corner. So you start from some early November, some mid-November, and then it's the holiday season. I'm not sure how is it in Australia, but during the holiday season, this is something that you can consider as well. Yeah, so let me go on to slide 16. We only have about 18 minutes left, so I'll definitely, as I said, I'll definitely not cover every slide. I'm only at slide 16. I have 16 more slides, but I won't cover everything. I want to leave about 5-10 minutes at the end for some quick Q&A if there is. Yeah. The slide deck, once again, I'll get Ashish to send out to everybody, as well as a quick feedback. Yeah, if you can offer some quick feedback, that would be very helpful for me and for Ashish. Yeah. So slide 16, the 3G framework. Very simply, the 3G, or the 3G stand for to give, to grow, and to gratify. Yeah. So the 3G habit framework, something is a very healthy money habit framework. Yeah, I call it. Give, allocate part of the resources. You can educate your children to giving to charity, whichever cause that your child likes. If he or she likes animals, donate to a animal shelter, animal home, or cause for animals. He or she like old age, or they like the nature, green earth. Yeah, just ask them to allocate. So building on the budgeting exercise that we did, so when our children budget and they save out a certain amount, by the end of the year they should have some resources, some excess, and that's where you can tell your child, okay, now come to the end of the year, and then you have saved up some money in your piggy bank. What would you like to do with this money? Yeah, we can consider giving to our favorite charity. And then number two, the second G is grow. So this one is more for advanced learners, advanced older age group kids. So you can start to, for those probably 10 years, 12 years and above, you can educate them a little bit about investing. What's investing? The basics, how to invest, what do you mean by investing? Yeah. And to give them a little bit of financial education and literacy in this aspect. I'll not delve too deeply into investing itself because it's one big whole webinar on itself. But what we can do as parents to start them off is to give them little bits of advice, what is investing, and then what kind of investment tools are there, asset classes. You can invest in property, you can invest in stocks, you can, yeah, so on and so forth. So this is the second G called grow. And you can ask your child, ask our kids to put aside certain money to sum of money to invest. And then, of course, this is more for older kids, 10, 12 or above. They are a bit more mature in their thinking. Then we can start them off in their journey. Yeah. The last G is called gratify, balance. So enjoy mindfully what we have earned. Of course, we work hard. We as parents, we work hard in our business or in our company, and then we get paid for it. We get bonuses, performance bonus. This is of course something that we need to enjoy lah. So I think this portion most parents will not have any struggles with it lah. You have struggles with enjoying and pampering yourself, let me know. Yeah, I think most parents won't have issues with this lah. But of course, this is a 3G framework to educate our children what is a healthy money framework. Okay, I'll go on to last final slide, and I'll not I'll pause for open up the time Q&A. So the rest of the slides you'll be emailed in the slide deck to you lah. So finally, one of the values which I highly subscribe to is giving. Yeah, and as I mentioned earlier, our children observe what we do, what our actions, rather than listen to what we say. Yeah, so to inculcate giving in ourselves, in our lives, I myself, I give to a lot of charity organizations and causes, community causes. I give in terms of money, I give in terms of time and energy. Yeah, and I set example. Yeah, so for you, I'll recommend that you really set example as well. Set aside some time to give to charitable causes, whichever cause that you're passionate about, doesn't matter. But important thing is you need to show your children that you give, you walk the talk. And this is a very healthy money habit, I find, because this allows your child to open up their perspective and be more empathetic and sensitive to the needs of people around them. Yeah, because most of us are quite fortunate. We don't have to worry about shelter, security. So Maslow's hierarchy of needs, our basic needs, shelter, security, food, most of them all taken care of. Yeah, we are quite blessed. Australia, Singapore, we are not at threat or war of unrest. And we live in very stable countries. So we are very blessed. But unfortunately, the world is not so. You can see a lot of unrest, a lot of war, a lot of bloodshed, and people in certain countries, nations, they don't even know if they can survive till the next day. Yeah, and we have to let our children be aware of that they are very blessed. They take security for granted. Sometimes they can go out till late at night and don't have to worry about their security. But in many nations, children they can't even go out, or not supposed to go out, or cannot go out, or at risk of being killed or raped, or something bad happening to them after sundown. So after sundown, they have to stay at home. There's nowhere else they can go. Yeah, but living in Australia, living in Singapore, generally, even after sundown, we can still, our minds are still at peace if our kids are still out somewhere. Yeah, we know that they will be safe. Yeah. Okay, so giving builds empathy. Yeah, and with that, I'll pause my content. Yeah, so if you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself, or if you have some tech issues, no worries, just feel free to type inside the chat group. Yeah, so the last 10 minutes of the webinar is for question time. I'll not cover every content because there's a lot of content. Yeah. Money, financial literacy is a very huge topic. As part of my volunteer work, I actually go to schools. I'm doing wealth management with Prudential. So Prudential has a very good program called the Cha-Ching program, and it's a 6-lesson, 6-part educational literacy series for our kids. Yeah. Those of you interested in the Cha-Ching program, feel free to reach out to me. You have my contact. If you don't have my contact, you can find me easily on social media. I'm called the Happy Coach Yuan Tai. Yeah, and I'm also the founder of the Homeschooling Singapore community. Yeah, and in case you guys are wondering who Ashish is an awesome guy. Working with him on this series of webinars for parents, and he runs Ref Learn. Yeah, maybe Ashish, you want to unmute yourself? Just a quick 30-second.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Ashish. I'm the founder of Revlon. So we help young people 13 plus to discover careers while they're in school. If you look back in your school experience back in the day, it hasn't changed too much, where we're not exposing kids to the world of work. And so my mission is to help young people learn what the options are, what are the different possibilities, careers, um, projects. So we do a lot of passion projects, exposing them to the career world, and so that when they do need to graduate from school, they know exactly what to do for them for their next steps. So yeah, that's what we do at Revlon.
Yes, thank you, Ashish. Thank you for your intro. Yeah, so I've been partnering Ashish to run this series of webinar for parents,
Mhm.
homeschoolers, or parents who send your kids to mainstream. So I don't really differentiate as long as it's valuable to parents. I feel that something parents need. We will do it together. Yeah. So looks like there are no questions. So if there are no questions, I'll still hang around for a couple more minutes. If not, thank you for your time, and I hope that you have found this webinar fruitful and useful for yourself and for your kids as well. Thank you, and I wish you a very fruitful and pleasant weekend ahead.
Thank you. I'll stop the recording here.